Scarborough's South Bay Pool, one of my most requested videos. Everyone who's old enough remembers it. Anyone who isn't old enough has seen photos and pictures of it. Another lost attraction of this stunning British seaside town. Where to start? Well, fortunately with this one, much of the research had already been done. Several years ago, Doug Stewart of D Stewart Photography published a thorough, well-researched history of this site. I recently contacted him and had a good chat about my plan to bring his piece to life in a video on this channel. I'll provide a link to this in the video description. Right, let's get started. As I expect you'll know, Scarborough's South Bay bathing pool was one of the resort's key tourist attractions, being proudly displayed on many contemporary advertising posters. For years it had been a happy place full of people. However, like other attractions I've featured on this channel, it was closed and left to ruin before being demolished. Sad, I know, but first let's enjoy what it once was. Open-air swimming pools in Scarborough's South and North Bays had been under consideration since the first years of the 20th century. Outdoor sea water pools were in their infancy in Britain, and Scarborough Borough Engineer Harry Smith was enthusiastic about Scarborough having its own. Plans were drawn up by Harry Smith in 1913, and work began the following year, supervised by William Birch. Work was then hampered by the outbreak of the First World War, and there's a story that workers sheltered behind a half-finished wall during the German bombardment of Scarborough in 1914. The pool itself opened on schedule in the summer of 1915, complete with a water chute and diving platform. But the site was still significantly unfinished, with the changing rooms not yet completed. These came into operation the following year, along with the toilets and showers, and a proper retinue of staff was appointed, including male and female swimming instructors. The pool's cafe was added in 1917. The pool was intended to have a dual purpose of acting as a sea defence for the coastline, as well as boosting Scarborough's already burgeoning tourist industry. It was highly innovative, being the first of its kind and remaining the largest swimming pool in Europe for many years afterwards. The pool quickly became immensely popular, and spectators could even listen to a band and watch live shows. The original pool had shallow walls, allowing the seawater to come over the top of the wall when the tide came in. However, in 1934 it underwent a substantial redevelopment. This was led by a huge boom in interest in outdoor activities and improvements in hygiene. The height of the walls was raised to make the pool more independent from the sea, increasing the depth of the water in the deep end from 6 feet to 15 feet. It also increased the surrounding seating capacity to 3,000 people. Several distinctive fountains were added to help with the water cycling system, and 2 shallow areas were introduced for children. At the same time, the well-documented 32-foot high diving board was installed, making the pool one of the country's premier diving establishments and leading to the diving preliminaries for the 1948 Olympic Games being held here. Entertainment in the 1950s included dancing girls, the Aquabelles, diving from world champion Betty Slade, and stunt diving from a man who would set himself on fire before jumping into the pool.
As the pool was designed as a sea defence, it inevitably came under huge pressure from stormy seas. Severe damage was caused by the Great Storm of 1953, which destroyed a section of the pool's southeast wall. That was quickly repaired, but it was clearly vulnerable to further storms.
In around 1959, the last large-scale construction occurred on the site when a concrete walkway was built all the way around the seaward side of the pool. This would ensure no further damage from stormy seas.
By the 1980s, the pool's popularity was in steep decline. The pool was unheated and fared badly in competition with the North Bay's heated pool. It was dependent on large numbers of paying spectators, and as well as many opting for holidays abroad at this time, the fashion for spectator swimming and related entertainments had passed.
Winter storms would cause huge amounts of sand to wash into the pool, which required expensive drainage and removal. As the site was relatively isolated, it became an increasingly attractive target for vandals. Moreover, the pool was old, outdated and crumbling. Each winter it was drained to patch up cracks and put on some paint, but no major work was done. The pool ran into increasingly serious financial problems, first closing briefly in 1981, before reopening with an injection of cash by Scarborough Council. But it was not enough, and the pool closed down for good in 1989. The pool became derelict and was boarded up to try to impede vandalism. It soon fell into a state of decay, and efforts to seal off the site began in 2000. This involved the erection of steel fencing around the courtyard area and across the staircases that led down to the roof area and cafe, closing off the changing room block completely. At the same time, the flimsy wire around the pool itself was replaced with heavy-duty steel fencing. In 2002, the Department of Culture, Media and Sport turned down an application to have the building listed, with the reason given that the Lido and changing rooms didn't make for a unified single design. There is no doubt that the South Bay Pool had become a fusion of Edwardian and 1930s design, but old buildings very often undergo changes, and this doesn't make them less interesting or less important. The historical and architectural significance of the pool was plainly obvious to all those who cared to notice. However, what is undeniable are the serious practical problems that would have been involved in preserving the building. The days of large-scale spectator swimming are largely gone, and it is not certain that the pool could ever again have pulled in the numbers of people needed to make it financially viable. The pool was in a terrible state of neglect, and the sums needed for the renovation would have been vast. Whatever the difficulties involved, the decision to clear the site was a desperately sad one.
The pool's buildings were demolished in 2002-2003, and the pool itself filled in, bringing an end to its 88-year history.
Although the South Bay Pool no longer exists, some significant features remain. These include the pool's outer walls and walkway on the seaward side, and a section of wall that once linked the changing rooms to the laundry block. In its place now is some kind of star map. Notably, there is no information here whatsoever to inform visitors of Harry Smith's South Bay Pool that stood here and helped create precious memories for almost a century.
And that's the story of Scarborough's lost South Bay Pool. Another big thank you to Doug Stewart for allowing me to use his outstanding piece on this place. I hope I've done it justice. Do check out his website, I'll put a link in the video description. You'll see a lot of the photos I've used in this video, plus many, many more. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, so as always, if you have, hit the like button and drop in your comments below and tell me any memories you may have of this place. If you're not yet subscribed, make sure you are to see more of my videos along the North Yorkshire coast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon for the next one.